became consumerism, that's when we started being able to produce stuff. In the Second World War, we were 98% self-sufficient in this country, believe it or not, in food. Yeah. And we're not now, but at Christmas, we've got all religions take part, not in the birth of Christ necessarily, and not even understanding the birth of Christ, but they understand the lights, they understand the merriment, they understand the family get-together, they go on holidays, right across the whole spectrum. And I like to think of it as a giant play that every family joins in with, right from when Father Christmas comes down the chimney, brings the sacrament.
What about, look, I'm going to bring in Roger Gewald, and look, this is the first show of this stint, and so basically we're bringing on the guests and then just talking about different stuff, even though we didn't warn them in advance. But I'll tell you something that shocked me. Look at the National Trust, that scumbag institution that hates Britain. They have got Diwali, they have Eid, they have Hanukkah, they have all the religious ceremonies in their calendar, but not Christmas and Easter, because they say Christmas and Easter is racist. Roger, look, you've advised governments, you've advised businesses on how we can build something, and yet. So I just want to ask you, how are we going to take back control of the values in this country?
Can I say, first of all, I've got no a visual of you guys. I can't see
don't worry, I'm not worth looking at.
We've got great faces for radio.
It would be good if they could.
Roger,
I think
you just look like a sinister beast in a hotel at the moment.
I am in a hotel. I'm not sinister.
But Roger, we're going to come on to your meeting with Donald Trump, which I think is important. But how can we stand up for our values and our traditions at this time of year?
I think that we have a problem in that our government and opposition don't even stand up for the fundamentals before we even get to celebrations like Christmas and other holidays. We have got a problem. We're in a real mess. This government is proving so weak, and the opposition not much better. They can't even defend us from the cost of living crisis. They can't meet any of Rishi Sunak's pledges. So we need new people is the answer to your question.
Roger, can I just pull you up there, because I'm going to assume you've been on my radio show a huge number of times, but I don't know that everybody watching and listening to this knows what you have told me about inflation. But I want you to just explain really simply why the Bank of England has failed, why the government has failed, and why, if we continue to follow Andrew Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, and Rishi Sunak, the British Prime Minister's policies, we're going to make it worse.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm far from the only person who's been saying these things, Andre, as you know. And what's creeping me out is the increased number in past weeks of messages and posts on X, formerly Twitter, and emails and everything else I'm getting saying, Dr. Roger, when are you going to admit what's really going on? And these are from conspiracy theorists, some of them with excellent credentials, spouting theories about the Great Reset, the New World Order, how we're all going to be losing our homes, and how we're all going to be controlled by massive governments from Davos, Switzerland, and all kinds of crazy stuff, which I don't ascribe to. But it's worrying that the government and the opposition have been so ineffective that the British public has gotten into this state of paranoia.
But Roger, it's Roger.
Let me just finish one thing. Suffering from exactly the low-level mental health disturbance that you've just described so perfectly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I find it extremely frustrating. I mean, look, can I tell you something? I genuinely supported, say, the vaccine rollout. And I'll tell you why. Because I believe that we should have ensured that a vaccine was very quickly made available. I think we should have been honest about the fact that any medical procedure carries a risk, and we should have been balanced about who we rolled it out to. But by making the most stupid comment in the world, which is, the vaccine is definitely safe under all circumstances. I mean, no medical procedure is definitely safe under all circumstances. So you make a comment like that, you treat people like idiots, they're going to push back, and then you turn around and you say, let's vaccinate every child, even though there's no medical value to it. Then you get into the situation of the party of Davos, as Steve Bannon talks about, which is both Labour and the Conservatives believe in uncontrolled immigration, low wages and capitulation to the European Union. No wonder people are paranoid.
Well, making these comments like that about the vaccines is, borders on stupid, people would say, but that's quite a different thing from what you've asked me to describe.
So,
what is going on with inflation and Andrew Bailey and the Bank of England?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a message this morning which said, Roger, you need to realize that the world is now full of some very dumb, incredibly smart people. In other words, there's something sinister going on, is what this person told me. Now, what happened with inflation is this, and I've been saying this for well over a year. Andrew Bailey left the Financial Conduct Authority, where he allegedly lost investors billions of pounds by doing the wrong thing too late. He didn't handle certain crises like Woodford and London and Capital. He wasn't shrouded in glory there.
Yeah, so Roger, the best thing we can say about Andrew Bailey to be charitable is he was shit at the job at the Financial Conduct Authority. He is a man, and we've got to be serious.
So
let me be serious about this, Roger. This is a man who has failed in every professional challenge he has ever been presented with, and is now the governor of the Bank of England. Hey, why was it a surprise, Roger, when he turned up to a select committee and said he couldn't control inflation? Obviously, because he's shit at the job.
Let me say that I have heard more people speak the way you are speaking about Mr. Bailey than any other person in public life. So let's leave it there. The point is, somebody, God knows why, appointed him to run the Bank of England. Terrible mistake, I believe. My friend Alex Brummer, the very respected, longtime city editor of the Mail, said in an exclusive interview with me some time ago that Bailey is not an economist, and even more so, he lacks the intellectual capacity to do that job. So, when people are talking like this, you got to wonder how he got the job. But in any event, he did get the job. He came in March of 2020, just as the pandemic was starting, and give him the benefit of the doubt. He wanted to help British business. He didn't raise interest rates from the very low level they were at because he didn't want to hurt business, which he knew already was going to suffer from the pandemic. But what he did do was wait way too long to start raising rates. At the same time, he dumped QE, quantitative easing, hundreds of billions of printed pounds into the economy. It's like flying a tanker airplane filled with oil and dumping it on a raging Californian forest fire.
So Roger, let me understand this. So I'm just going to put it really simply, and you're going to tell me whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. So Andrew Bailey's strategy is this. First of all, what he decides is to print money. Now, it's very easy to think about this in your mind. Imagine there's only £100 in existence and it's worth $100, right? So there's £1 for every dollar. If you then create an extra £10, then what that means is that it's not £1 for every dollar anymore. It's now less. It's approximately 90 pence. So obviously prices go up as a result. So Andrew Bailey devalues the pound effectively, and then he turns around and says the solution to this is to put up interest rates in order to take money out of the economy, because he thinks inflation is being caused by excess spending, whereas actually it's being caused by his own policies. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, it's being caused by, you're absolutely right, it's being caused by two things. The printing of money fueled inflation for sure, but what Bailey and his colleagues misjudged was the kind of inflation we have. He slavishly follows the United States in whatever they do, and they have consumer-driven inflation And of course, you know, we noted that the minute they raised interest rates, the inflation fell by more than 50%.
Yeah.
Here, Bailey raised interest rates 14 times and nothing happened. And yet he continued to be so stupid that he is still maintaining, as are his cronies. I call him the Bailey Osiris because he and his thick-skinned colleagues just ruddy won't listen to anybody. Our inflation is caused by prices in food and energy. And the recent, I predicted well over a year ago that he would drive up and prolong inflation and destroy the economy.
Roger, we're going to go to a break. But we're going to pick this up. But I'll tell you, anyone watching and listening, what Roger is telling you, and he is a man with a background in financial services, he is a man who has significant knowledge, who's advised the British government and the Bank of England. He's telling you that the governor of the Bank of England is right. The man is right when he says to a House of Commons Select Committee, I cannot control inflation. The man's telling the truth. We're still paying him. He's still in situ. Biggest loser in history. You would say that, wouldn't you? Except he's making a ton more money than you and he can't do the job. More next.
We're here!
Thanks for joining us.
You're with Talk TV, on TV, on radio, online.
We're on your smart speaker as well.
Criminals using XL bully dogs as weapons to threaten others.
No matter how well trained, most dog owners will tell you a dog can turn.
Do you know what I love about Talk Today? We do it all. Sunak, Suella, scones.
I rather like David Cameron. I don't sort of bear him any ill will because he delivered the referendum that he said he would deliver.
The Tories love a scrap. You can almost see this coming round the tracks with Suella Braverman. She's heading